This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
A week ago today, Democrats were riding high. Yes, they had won big elections everywhere. They elected a communist in New York City. They won in landslides in New Jersey and Virginia. They won in California. They elected a socialist in Seattle. They were winning. Republicans were reeling. It was a good week for the resistance. And they were telling you that Republicans were starving children and planes were going to crash and the world was going to end because they shut down the government. And here we are a week later, and I can't even imagine a more disastrous week for Democrats. They blew it. As we sit here today, the first full day with the government reopened, the messaging, the rants, the tantrums from Democrats are as incoherent and upside down as anything we've ever seen. So I think I have this straight. I'm trying my best to make sense of it. The shutdown was cruel. Trump was starving children. He was creating chaos. Of course, they shut down the government, but a government shutdown was a disaster. It was awful for the country. And today, the government is reopened. Yes, TSA and air traffic controllers are back to work. The military's getting paid, and SNAP recipients are once again receiving their junk food. And what are Democrats saying? This is a disaster. This is cruel. This is awful. Which is it? Someone has to explain this to me. A government shutdown was terrible, and government reopening is also terrible. Somehow, it feels like they didn't think this through. Their minority leader, Chuck Schumer, he's done. He's a dead man walking. Democrats, Hakeem Jeffries, all the top Democrats are going before the cameras and telling you, this is terrible. The government reopened. There's a continuing resolution. We're funding the government at Biden levels. We're again spending billions, trillions, and they're pissed. I'm confused. Someone has to help me out. Maybe someone on the chat line can help me out. Why is the government reopening bad when the government closing was also bad? Which is it? Can someone help me out with this? This is the worst backfire I think I've ever seen from Democrats. This makes no sense. Do you want to continue starving children? Do you want planes to crash? Is there nothing you won't do to win politically? Is there nothing you won't do to make Trump look like the bad guy? Because this from October 1st till today did not work out the way you'd hoped. You did not get to negotiate. You did not win anything. Your foot soldiers, AOC and Jasmine, they're out there saying, this is awful, and we got nothing, and we shouldn't have capitulated. They are, once again, fomenting the anger in their base because government's back open, because Danielle is eating again. Yes, they are telling you that the fact that the SNAP recipients are getting their money, their food, they're eating, and that's bad. What? This is not going well for Democrats. Yes, here's Danielle. A week ago, she was starving. She had nothing to eat. Now she does. And the Democrats could not be more angry, more upset at this. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm a soft-hearted guy. I feel good. Danielle can eat. Good.
It's really bad.
Danielle Grant is starving.
I know. I'm trying to see if I can get some food because we literally don't have anything to eat today or tomorrow. So we're trying to make it eat, and we can't.
desperate for food. Nowhere.
Oh, you know what? This didn't work out the way they had hoped. Danielle was starving a week ago. She had nothing to eat, and now she does. And now Democrats are pissed. They wanted this to continue. They wanted to continue to use poor Danielle, who's wasting away. They wanted to continue to exploit her suffering. They wanted planes to crash. Is there any doubt that AOC, that Ayanna Pressley and Liz Warren wanted disaster? They wanted more flight cancellations and delays. They wanted chaos at the airport. They wanted something to happen really disastrous so they could use it. There's nothing they won't sink to exploit it politically. This is, again, a Trump phenomenon. This is the longest shutdown ever, the second longest, also under Trump. They don't mind shutting down the government. They will tell you it's awful, it's disaster, it's the worst. But if it helps them in their battle against Trump, in their never-ending attempt to make him look bad, they will use it. They will use starving children. They will use 3-4 hour flight delays. They were hoping it would get worse. It didn't. They capitulated. 8 of them, 8 moderates in the Senate came over and said, let's open up the government. 6 of them in the House last night voted to open up the government, and they're traitors. They're pariahs in their party because they wanted poor Danielle to eat. Well, Trump was having none of it. Last night, it passed the House at about 8:30. They sent it down the street to the White House, and Trump signed it, and he sounded angry. Trump never loses his temper. That's one thing. People want you to think he's a lunatic. Have we ever seen Trump? He's been in the public eye for 10 years. He's been in the public eye for 40 years, but he's been in politics for 10 years. He's been president for 5 years. Has he ever actually lost his temper the way Joe Biden did every damn day? You never see it. But he was close last night because he knows this was just a political stunt. It hurt the economy. It hurt economic growth. It hurt lots of federal employees. It hurt military. It hurt poor Danielle. And they didn't care. And he knows it. He knows this is what they're willing to do, how far they're willing to go. Here he is explaining how they extorted the country. Go ahead.
For the past 43 days, Democrats in Congress shut down the government of the United States in an attempt to extort American taxpayers for hundreds of billions of dollars for illegal aliens and people that came into our country illegally from gangs, from prisons, from mental institutions. They wanted to pay them $1.5 trillion, which would have really hurt our healthcare businesses and our recipients at levels never seen before. Today, we're sending a clear message that we will never give in to extortion, because that's what it was. They tried to extort. The Democrats tried to extort our country. In just a moment, I'll sign a bill exactly like we asked Democrats to send us all along many days ago. This cost the country $1.5 trillion, this little excursion that they took us on. Republicans never wanted a shutdown and voted 15 times for a clean continuation of funding. There's never been a time when one or the other party ever didn't sign a continuation. It's just a continuation, not a big deal. It's a continuation, and we'll talk later. Yet the extremists in the other party insisted on creating the longest government shutdown in American history, and they did it purely for political reasons.
He did this ceremony, signed the thing, held it up, they cheered, and then he took one question. And you know why he didn't continue to take questions the way he usually does? Because he was seething, and he knew he would probably go too far. It was amazing. I've never seen him do this. He just said, that's it. And they kicked the media out of the room. That was a good move, because I think he might have said something he regretted. And for once, for a change, he said, no, I'm going to end this right here. Get out. And the government officially reopened. Hopefully, airports can return to normal delays and cancellations, and not these Democrat-induced cancellations, but that wasn't the worst of it. Using children, starving children, using poor Danielle, using government workers who were going without paychecks. That wasn't the worst of it. What we saw yesterday, again, a new low. It really was. We've seen many, many, many hoaxes in Trump's time in office. We've talked about most of them. The fine people hoax, which was bad. Joe Biden said that's what motivated to run for office, because Trump said they were fine people, because Trump said the Nazis were fine people. We know that's a lie. It's on video. It was a pretty lame hoax, but the Russia hoax that lasted 2 years, cost the taxpayers millions of dollars. There's been little hoaxes, big hoaxes, drinking bleach and suckers and losers hoax, and bounties on soldiers in Afghanistan hoax. The media will play along with any Democrat hoax, and they don't care that it gets debunked and they look bad. Again, they don't care how bad they look. They will do anything and everything to stop Trump, to smear Trump, to gin up angry Democrats and low IQ voters. But I got to say this hoax yesterday, yes, the Epstein hoax yesterday was perhaps the lamest, most transparent, most revealing hoax of all, because it was a joke to begin with. If you were, and they used it, they did their best. But here's what happened yesterday. Democrats released 3 pages of the Epstein files. There's over 20,000 pages. They handpicked 3 pages and they said, look, Trump's in the Epstein files. And their lapdogs in the media dutifully played along. They ran with all the headlines. I got a whole list of headlines here. I want to get to the New York Times because that's my favorite. Here's the New York Times headline after the Democrats released the 3 pages. Trump named an Epstein release. Ooh, Trump was named. Here's Al Jazeera. Trump spent hours with victims at Epstein's house. Washington Post. Epstein wrote that Trump knew of sexual abuse but didn't participate. Didn't everybody know of Epstein abuse? Isn't that why he kicked him out of the club? Isn't that why he didn't interact with him anymore? Anyway, here's what happened yesterday. Democrats redacted the name of that victim with whom Trump spent time at Epstein's house. They redacted the name. Gee, why did they do that? Why don't we get to see the name? Well, if you did, then the hoax would be exposed and you would understand what a joke this is. This whole effort, and they're not stopping. Today, you'll hear it all day. If you watch CNN and MSNBC, and I have briefly, it's all they're talking about. Trump's in the Epstein files. Whoever said he wasn't, by the way? Trump was a billionaire in Palm Beach. Epstein was a billionaire in Palm Beach. Palm Beach is 3.8 square miles. I looked it up. It's a small community, an elitist, wealthy community. They interacted at parties. Epstein went to Mar-a-Lago and Trump kicked him out because he knew what he was up to. This doesn't, Trump's in there. Yes, he's in the files. But here's what's going to happen. This is going to blow up like nothing else on the Democrats, backfire, because when they indeed release all the files, there's going to be some people who look really bad, like Bill Clinton, like Larry Summers, like Reid Hoffman. Good Democrats are going to be exposed. I'm going to guess that Democrats aren't holding back anything really incriminating about Donald Trump. As I've said for a year, if there were really something in there that implicated Trump in the scandal, you think Joe Biden would have released it? You don't think Kamala Harris, Merrick Garland? Sure, they tried to bankrupt him. They tried to put him in prison for the rest of his life. They tried to destroy him for 2 years. But yeah, they held back on releasing incriminating evidence that would implicate him in the Epstein files. Back to the big bombshell yesterday. That's actually the word they used, bombshell. Jim Acosta, failed CNN host, posted bombshell, Trump's in the Epstein files. Well, here's the bombshell. The victim he spent time with, you may have already heard this, is Virginia Giuffre. I never know how to say her name. She said under oath in testimony, Trump did nothing wrong. She wrote in her memoir, Trump did nothing wrong. He was a perfect gentleman. Why did they redact her name? Because they wanted to make Trump look bad. They were lying. They knew it. I mean, not all of them. Some of them are too stupid to even understand it. We'll get to Jasmine Crockett, Eric Swalwell. They know this is a hoax. They know this doesn't incriminate Trump, but they didn't care because they knew the end of the shutdown was going to make them look bad. They needed a distraction, a diversion. This is how despicable, how disgusting these people are. The shutdown's ending. They look bad. Trump wins. GOP wins. Democrats lose. So what are we going to do? We'll release 3 pages and we'll redact the name, and our allies in the media will carry it from there. That's how it works. They release it. They know it's not real. It's not honest, but they don't care. They know the New York Times and the Washington Post and Eric Swalwell and Jim Acosta will play along. They know these people are they just hate Trump. They seethe with hatred for Trump so much that they won't say, whoa, we knew about Virginia Giuffre. We knew she didn't implicate Trump. We knew that. She wrote it in her book. She said it under oath. But you know what? Maybe people won't look down to the 3rd paragraph or the 5th paragraph. Maybe they'll just run with the headline. Trump implicated. Trump spent hours with a victim. That's their story, and they're sticking to it. This is the testimony under oath from the victim of Donald Trump, according to Democrats. Jeffrey told me that Donald Trump is a good friend of his, but you never observed them together. No, not that I can remember. When did Trump flirt with you? He didn't. That's inaccurate. Did you ever see Trump at Jeffrey Epstein's home? Not that I can remember. On the island? No, not that I can remember. That's the person who is allegedly implicating Trump in the scandal. You want to know what the real scandal is? You're not going to read this in the New York Times. This is amazing. What we learned in this brief to small sampling of emails is that journalists, one of Democrats' favorite journalists, Michael Wolff, was assisting Epstein in covering up the scandal, in avoiding accountability. Another one, a guy named Landon Thomas, New York Times reporter. He tipped off Jeffrey Epstein that the walls were closing in. That was revealed. A New York Times guy, a reporter, was caught collaborating with Epstein in this email dump. Did you hear about that? Did Rachel Maddow? Did Scarborough? Did Jake Tapper cover that? They might have. I missed it. That's the bombshell. Journalists, including a New York Times journalist, were working with Epstein when they knew who he was, when they knew what he did. They would exchange emails with him and tell him they're getting, they're sniffing around. Be careful. Be careful, Jeffrey. The New York Times was working with Epstein. And the New York Times headline yesterday, Trump named an Epstein email release. Well, so was Landon Thomas, your guy. Isn't that a story that the New York Times was helping Jeffrey Epstein? I haven't read that in any of these publications. Washington Post, let me check, PBS, all of them, BBC, PBS, we'll get to PBS. None of his headlines say New York Times helped Epstein, but they did. He did. And Democrats don't care. They got their little nugget. They're going to run with it. Here is Eric Swalwell, a sitting congressman. Now, he's a disgrace. He's a scumbag. He tweeted this out yesterday after Midas Touch, a left-wing outfit, posted, Epstein bombshell. Newly released emails show Epstein told Ghislaine Maxwell that Donald Trump spent hours at my house and, quote, knew about the girls. Swalwell tweets, if Trump had sex with underage girl, should he still be our president? He knew he didn't. They all knew he didn't. If he did, we'd have known a long time ago. They'd have used it to stop him in the 2024 election. But they don't care. And it's going to continue. They're just going to pretend that we don't know the victim. Yeah, that's what Jazzy Crockett said. We don't know the victim. Yes, you do. You knew it all along. This is such a scummy, sleazy move, and it doesn't matter. It's just another effort to get Trump, which makes everything okay. You're allowed to lie, to redact, to call him a pedophile. You're allowed to say he had sex with underage girls. Get me Jazzy. Here's Epstein to Michael Wolff. Trump asked me to leave and asked Ghislaine to stop what she was doing. That was in the big bombshell. Trump asked me to leave Mar-a-Lago and asked Ghislaine to stop what she was doing. Trump's the good guy here, at least so far. We got 20,000 more emails or documents to go, but in this big bombshell, Trump doesn't look bad at all. I mean, what was he supposed to do at that point? Arrest him? He kicked him out. He told her to stop. That's being used by these sleazy Democrats. Here's Jazzy on with CNN pretending she doesn't know the name that was redacted. Go ahead.
This is an email from April 2nd, 2011. Republicans were saying that victim is Virginia Giuffre. As you know, she died by suicide. She's been a very outspoken victim of Jeffrey Epstein. Here's the email right here on your screen. She wrote a book, as you know, and she did not accuse him of any wrongdoing. What do you make of that? And can you confirm that?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, it's redacted who the victim is, so I won't necessarily take the Republicans' word on who it is that's redacted. And I don't know why they would necessarily redact someone's name who is deceased at this point.
The Democrats did that, though. The Democrats redacted.
No. I understand,
okay,
but I'm just saying, like, our biggest concern is to actually make sure that we are protecting victims. And obviously, she wrote a book. She told her truth.
She knows. She knows. I mean, she's an idiot, but she knows why they redacted it. And she pretends, oh, I don't know. We're just protecting victims. You know what your party did. You know it. The name was unredacted. Caroline Levitt said from the podium yesterday. Yes, we know the victim. The victim is deceased. She committed suicide. But she said repeatedly, Trump did nothing wrong. Trump was a perfect gentleman. And they just lied. And they lied to distract. I mean, honestly, I have low expectations from the media in the era of Trump, the age of Trump. But this is so low down and dirty. It's hard to believe that anybody falls for this. Even CNN is calling her out. Even CNN is saying, well, we know who the victim is. And the victim said Trump did nothing wrong. Well, I don't know. I don't know the victim. Yes, you do. You liar. This is the star, the face of the Democrat Party. Even more, you want even more proof that these people are absolute frauds. So they have the vote on the shutdown, and it ends. Republicans get 222 votes to end the shutdown. Tim Burchett, congressman from Tennessee, who's just great. He's funny, and he tells you the truth. Does these little videos every time he leaves the house. He filed a motion for unanimous consent last night to release all the Epstein files. Yes, release them all, 20,000. It's going to happen. And keep in mind, they picked these 3 pages, three pages of the testimony because they thought this was the best stuff. This will make Trump look bad. So he files a motion to release everything. Last night, it was blocked. You know who blocked it? Democrats. Listen to Tim Burchett.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett. Just left the House floor, and I tried to do a UC unanimous consent of I tried to get the Epstein files, get it straight to the floor, just to cut out all this nonsense. And, and the Democrats blocked it, oddly enough. Now here they've had it for 4 years, and they obviously if there's something there about Trump, they would have released it. And now they're all, let's get it out. Well, I just made a motion to bring it straight to the dadgum floor, and they blocked it. So this is politics. It has nothing to do with what's doing what's right. And it's Washington, D.C. to a T. And again, they ought to be ashamed of themselves, but they're probably not. Thank y'all for sending me here.
Thank y'all for sending me here. He's great. So he said, let's release it all. And they said, no, we're going to wait. They're busy working on the next hoax. They're busy redacting names that they hope will help implicate Trump. It's coming. Trump's fighting it, and I understand why. He's right. It's a distraction. That's what it is. He could have sat there last night in the Oval Office and said, see, I told you I did the right thing. I told you I kicked Epstein out of the club. I told you I called out Ghislaine Maxwell, but he said, no, we'll just wait. I have a feeling this, once again, is not going to work out the way Democrats want. I have a feeling we're going to be sitting here next week talking about what an absolute scumbag Bill Clinton is and Larry Summers is. And if we find out who's on the island, who was actually preying on these girls, Democrats are going to regret this. They're going to say, uh-oh, that is not what we were hoping for. And I'm still waiting for someone to explain to me why the New York Times was collaborating with Jeffrey Epstein. Seems like kind of a big deal. Michael Wolff, who's a muckraker and a dirtbag, but Democrats loved him because he hates Trump. I'm still waiting for them to say, wait a second, this is not a good look for a journalist to be working with a pedophile. But that's what we learned. And once again, it blows up on them. Once again, it backfires, as so many of these hoaxes have. Oh, we got more. We got more on how the shutdown backfired on Democrats. We're going to get to the absolute scandal that is the EBT program. It's incredible. We wouldn't have known any of this if Democrats didn't shut down the government. Now we do. And the question is, what are we going to do about it? We'll get to that and much more. But first.
Excuse me.
If there's something all of us can believe in, it's hard work, self-reliance, and showing up for the people who count on us. Kind of like President Trump, just going hard 24/7. The difference is Donald Trump doesn't need sleep. You do. I do. It's the most important thing to good health. I was in a horrible cycle that had no end in sight. I knew I had to find something to break me free of that cycle. That's when I found Beam's Dream Powder. Beam is proudly founded in America and run by people who share our values: hard work, integrity, and delivering results. It's a healthy nighttime blend packed with science-based ingredients shown to improve sleep so you can wake up refreshed and ready to take on the day. Dream is made with a powerful blend of all natural ingredients: reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, and melatonin. Here's the deal. Beam is giving my listeners the ultimate Patriot discount of up to 40% off. Try their best-selling Dream Powder and get up to 40% off for a limited time. So with my discount code Gerry, G-E-R-R-Y, you can get the best-selling Dream Powder for just $39. Go to shopbeam.com/Gerry. Use code word Gerry at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/Gerry. Use code word Gerry for up to 40% off. We've been talking for a couple of weeks now about the abject fraud and abuse in the SNAP program. The numbers are unbelievable. I mean, Trump's first term, there were 17 million people on SNAP. When Joe Biden was through ushering in tens of millions of illegal aliens and putting them on SNAP, we were up to 42 million people, 1 in 8 people on food stamps. That's not because they came on hard times. That's because our federal government, our president, they opened it up to fraud. Every time I see a story like this, I'm asking, why is Joe Biden still free? You look at a video from the southern border where millions of people just walked in, signed up for Social Security, for food stamps, that criminals, as Trump says, people from gangs and insane asylums and all that, they did this to our country just a year ago. 2 years ago, they did this to our country on purpose. And not only is there no price to pay, Joe Biden's out there giving speeches. Kamala Harris is out there selling a book. And I'm saying Trump got impeached after he left office for telling people to go patriotically and peacefully to the Capitol. That's not nearly as bad to me as letting in 15 million illegal aliens to decimate our country, to put them on benefits to cost the taxpayers billions. Well, that happened. We know that happened thanks to Democrats shutting down the government. We got the sob stories from people who were starving because they missed their SNAP benefits for like 2 days. And they were starving in the streets, and Democrats exploited that, said, yeah, look at this, people are starving. Okay, let's take a look at this. Let's see why we have 42 million people on food stamps. Let's see how many of them are illegal aliens. The number we had last week was 49% of illegal aliens were on public benefits. That's not supposed to happen. We were told that didn't happen. It happened in a really big way. And now we're finding out, thanks to the shutdown. Thank you, Democrats, for exposing this fraud. Rachel Rollins, the secretary of whatever she is, went on last night on Fox and explained it and said, thankfully, they shined a light on this, and now we know, and now we have to get to work on eliminating the fraud. That's not enough, by the way. Eliminate the fraud is great. People need to be arrested. I know we say this every day, but if people aren't arrested, it's going to happen again. They're stealing billions. This is a $110 billion per year program. And I would say good half of it is fraud. Check this out.
And 20 plus others did not, and we're suing. We're in a litigation right now. But of the 29 that complied, what we have found is staggering. 500,000 people getting benefits 2 times under the same name. 5,000 dead people. 80% of the able-bodied Americans, meaning they can work. They don't have small children at home. They're not taking care of an elderly parent. They can work and they choose not to work, of course, because they're getting significant benefits from the taxpayer. So this light, Laura, that has now been shined on what is perhaps one of the most corrupt, dysfunctional programs in American history, that we are working now. Very big announcements coming next week on this. We are cracking down. We now have a plan to fix it. And we're really, really excited about doing that for the American people.
So this has been going on for many years. I mean, I think I covered this on the radio.
Hundreds of billions of dollars stolen that for some reason we wouldn't know about. If she's the Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, and she's just saying, yeah, here's why this is a small sliver of the scandal. They demanded on day one that all 50 states send them all the data from the SNAP recipients from EBT. They had 29 states respond. Those are red states. That's where a small portion of the fraud is coming from. The other 21 states refuse to comply. Why would they do that? Because that's where all the fraud's happening. And they have to sue to get states to report, to send them all the data on EBT, on who's receiving EBT. They don't even have that information yet. What do you think Democrat governors and mayors are doing? with that data. They're covering it up. They want this abuse. They want this fraud. They want illegal aliens. They want scam artists and perfectly healthy adults with no kids and no job to just sit there and get this. They want 42 million people dependent on the government. This scandal is massive. I know we've said that a lot in the last couple of years. This scandal is massive. We're going to find out just how much these blue states have been ripping off taxpayers, just how easy it was to get illegal aliens and other fraudsters on EBT to steal from you. Those 21 states, and they're all, hard, deep blue states. I don't know if they'll ever get the data, but if they do, we're going to find out there's a lot of people out there stealing from you. And here's the bottom line. That's what Democrats want. That's what they always wanted. They want more people dependent on the government. They want you to think that they'll starve to death if they're not allowed to steal your tax money. This is going to be big, and I'm looking forward to it. She's good. Brooke Rollins, she's very, very animated, very outspoken. We have that other clip from her because she explained further just how bad this problem is. Again, a problem we wouldn't know about if Democrats didn't shut down the government. But just think of that. Again, we talked about all the illegals and all this fraudsters. You go from 17 million people on food stamps to 42 million. That takes quite an effort to sign people up. I don't think they vetted everybody properly. I don't think they cared. They just wanted millions of people dependent on the government because they know those are the kind of people that will always vote for them. Here's more from Secretary Rollins.
I think what the Democrats did not include in their calculation in their insane government shutdown was the fact that this spotlight was going to be shined upon one of their favorite government welfare programs that under Joe Biden increased 40%. Where all that money went, trying to buy elections, we're not 100% sure, but we're rolling it back now. On day one, back in February, for me, we sent a letter to every governor saying, send us your SNAP data. All of this money that the federal government, the taxpayers are paying for food stamps, we don't even know where it goes, what happens, what they're doing with it. And we said no more. So 29 states complied and 20 plus others did not. And we're suing. We're in a litigation right now. But of the 29 that complied, what we have found is staggering. 500,000 people getting benefits 2 times under the same name.
It's going to get bad. You know why? Because they weren't even cute about it. They weren't even subtle. They just said, come on in, sign up. Here's your food stamps. And then we saw hundreds of videos of people abusing the system, buying junk food, selling their food stamps. It's a huge scandal, and hopefully it'll all explode on Democrats next week. All right, we got so much more to get to. I want to get to, we talk about the leader of the Democrat Party, as we told you yesterday in a recent poll. People were asked, who's the leader of the Democrat Party? And the number one answer is nobody. No, don't know was number one. Nobody was number 3. Kamala Harris was number 2. You have a rudderless party. You have people like Jasmine Crockett and AOC out front, just radicals who would never win nationally, who in most states couldn't win statewide, but they're the loudest. So they're getting all the attention, which is good. You have Gavin Newsom, this sleazebag, flying in his private jet to Brazil to kind of cosplay as American president at a conference on climate change, blaming the wildfires in California on climate change when we already know a Biden donor, a Gavin supporter, set the fires. So he is, as many people have said, he's the favorite right now because he's the best liar. He can lie about anything. He can lie so easily and comfortably. He can just lie. And that's what they need. They need a guy who will stand up there and say, yeah, those wildfires, that was global warming. California's doing great. We're leading the country in everything. Just a lie. That's what he does. But Democrats are so desperate that they'll throw their support behind him because the alternatives are so bad. Well, one person who's been talked about for years as a potential candidate. I'm going to just say it right here. I don't think Michelle Obama is ever going to be the leader of the Democrat Party. No one in history of this country is more tone deaf. No one is more entitled. There's never been a bigger narcissist. This woman is just insufferable. And apparently there's no one in her, circle who tells her, that didn't sound so good, Michelle. When you complained about, being disrespected because I don't even know why. Things were tough when you were in the White House because you had to pay for food, or you couldn't just bring everyone on your private jets all the time. I mean, she's just so tone deaf. And here she is saying that we'll just play it. You don't respect her enough. She is owed respect because she's so beautiful. Yes, because she's black. That's the reason. She's black and she's beautiful, and you owe her respect. It's hard to believe she actually says these things, that this is real. But there's no one more insufferable, more unlikable in the world right now than this woman. Check this out.
And we have to start educating people about all kinds of beauty.
Yes.
And our beauty is so powerful and so unique that it is worthy of the conversation, and it's worthy of demanding the respect that we're owed for who we are and what we offer to the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What does that even mean? Our beauty, she's talking to another black woman. Our beauty is so unique, so powerful. We are owed respect. First of all, she got respect. She was fawned over, slobbered over for 8 years in the White House and beyond that. Secondly, who's disrespecting her? I mean, other than the fact that people are mocking her for these ridiculous podcasts she does, but we're owed respect. No one's owed anything, I mean, this is a woman who's had everything handed to her whole life. And I don't even know what she's looking for. She's looking for more downloads. I mean, what is she looking for? More awards, more Vogue covers? What would it take for her to say, yeah, people are treating me okay. I got it pretty good. We're owed respect because of our beauty. Someone want to tell her? She's got a lot to offer, but I'm not sure beauty's the top of the list. That's just me. But, when I think beauty, it's not she's not the first one to come to mind, but who knows? We'll see. She's not going away, unfortunately. And, but she's not going to be the nominee, thankfully. Although I wouldn't mind that. See her up on stage debating Gavin Newsom and Tim Walz and AOC and Jasmine Crockett. All right, before we wrap up, I want to play this because I'm not sure people understand what has happened in this country. I'm not sure they quite grasp the Islamic invasion. You got to kind of pay attention to these things. You got to understand what's happening, what just happened in New York City, what has happened in Dearborn, what has happened in Minneapolis. There's thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who've come into this country, again, not to assimilate, to dominate. This is just a video of Dearborn, Michigan. This is a place, I've been there. I used to go there regularly. The Red Sox, when they traveled to Detroit, used to stay in Dearborn. I remember because it was the best place. We stayed in a Ritz, and it was a great little community, malls, and you could walk around. Here is Dearborn, Michigan, a town, a city in middle America now. If you're not watching, if you're just listening, it looks like, I don't know, Mogadishu. Just tens of thousands of people. Mark, can we turn up the sound? That is just chilling. Again, if you're not seeing it, it's literally just waves, oceans of people, all black clad, waving flags. None of them American, not a single American flag. No one speaking English. That's Dearborn, Michigan, in middle America. And Tuesday, as we told you about, there's a march, a protest march from led by a candidate for a governor in Michigan. And he's asking people to just walk down the streets of Dearborn. And they're threatening to burn the Quran, which is, you're allowed to burn the flag. You could burn the Bible. It's free speech. How do you think that's going to go? And I'm sure Democrats will say how awful that is, and that's violence, and that's provocative. But what do you call that? What we just saw? Marching in an American city, waving foreign flags, speaking foreign languages in Dearborn. That's the same in Minneapolis, same in Lewiston, Maine. We have to wake up to this. There was an arrest yesterday in Minneapolis. I want to get the details of this. I sent you the press conference, Ironhead. This is from Minneapolis yesterday. Official, I believe from the DA, did a press conference, announced nearly half of all Islamic immigrants in Minnesota have found to have committed immigration fraud. Nearly half. Can we play this? This is incredible. Go ahead.
Since September 19th, officers from our Fraud Detection and National Security Directorate, working in teams, have conducted over 1,000 site visits across the Minneapolis-St. Paul area as part of this operation. What they found should shock all of America. Focusing on a list of over 1,000 target cases involving more than 900 individuals, our officers encountered blatant marriage fraud, visa overstays, people claiming to work at businesses that can't be found, forged documents, abuse of the H-1B visa system, abuse of the F-1 visas, and many other discrepancies. Over the course of the operation, our officers found indication of fraud, non-compliance, or public safety and national security concerns in nearly a little less than 50% of the cases interviewed. We found troubling patterns with the Uniting for Ukraine program that should have raised serious concerns under other administrations, such as an individual filing to sponsor more than 100 aliens, and organizations sponsoring hundreds. We are continuing to investigate these cases. Some of the other troubling cases that our officers found. In one case, officers identified an alien who had overstayed his visa waiver, who was the son of a known or suspected terrorist on the no-fly list. He had previously been found to have engaged in marriage fraud, which resulted in the denial of several immigration benefit requests. He was arrested and is now presently being returned to his country of origin. In another, an individual admitted to obtaining a fake death certificate in Kenya for just $100 to prove he was no longer married. In reality, his wife is alive, living here in Minneapolis, and is the mother of 5 of his children. And incidentally, he has another wife living in Sweden with whom he has an additional 3 children.
All right, this goes on. This goes on and on and on. This guy's great, by the way. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services Director Joseph Edlow, just detailing the fraud in one market, one city. This should be a priority. Forget. There should be a day or two where everybody in the Trump administration points to this, explains this, shows that video from Dearborn and says, this has to end. We have been overrun by people who come here with one goal, to scam the system, to steal from us. Hundreds of thousands. There's over 130 or 40,000 Somalians in Minneapolis. And as he said, more than half committed immigration fraud. They came here to steal from us, not to assimilate, for a better life for their family. Yeah, I guess that's the goal. But how do they get that better life? By stealing, committing fraud. You want to lower housing costs? You want to lower the cost of living? You want to get more housing available? Kick them all out. End this. Stop this. I'm sure it was accelerated under Biden. I'm sure Obama was all on board with this. But today, this has to end. This is the first step. Forget 50-year mortgages. End this. God, that is sickening. Just insane. But at least, Kamala didn't win. We don't have to continue it. It can end now. You know what they should do? Start with Ilhan Omar. We know she committed immigration fraud. That would be glorious. Kick a sitting congresswoman the hell out of the country. By the way, she's pissed that her guy, Omar Fateh, the Captain Phillips guy, lost. Because you know why Captain Phillips guy lost to Jacob Fry? Because the Somalians were split. They were voting on their tribal loyalties. Yes, in Middle America, in Minneapolis, an election was decided based on clan feuds. The opposing clan from his clan voted against him. That's what happened in a once great American city. That's where we are. I hope people understand where we are. But all right, that will do it for today. Thank God today airports will hopefully be operating at full staff. Danielle can eat. Crisis has been averted, and Democrats are pissed. That's where we sit today. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is the Callahan Show, and we will do it again tomorrow.
It's really bad.
Danielle Grant is starving.
I'm trying to see if I can get some food because we literally don't have anything to eat today or tomorrow. So we're going to try to make ends meet, and we can.
Desperate for food.